FYI, I'm with Marie Walsh, and you're marching on Newport. Tell us why.
Yeah, we've been organising this long march because the NATO summit is going to be coming to Newport in early September. It's only a couple of weeks away now. And a lot of us are feeling that NATO, I know people don't think about NATO very much, it seems like a long way away, but it's an organisation that's designated the world a safe place. And in actual fact, we're worried that it doesn't. It makes the world a much more dangerous place. And it uses our money to do that as well. Money that could be spent on hospitals and schools.
Ray Davis, Vice Chair of C&D Cymru. Why are you marching today?
I'm marching today to demonstrate against NATO. And the reason I marched against NATO is that it puts itself forward as a peace organisation and a defensive organisation. But since its inception, it's been no more than a war machine. And it's been responsible for the killing and the dying and the maiming of countless thousands of people throughout the Middle East and throughout the region. And it's supposed to be controlled by various governments, but now it's got an agenda all of its own, and it seems every country seems powerless to influence it or stop it from what it's doing. And recently it participated in the bombing of Libya, it's participated in Afghanistan, it's participated in countless of these sort of events, and the crisis we've got in the Middle East at the moment, where you've got the so-called ISIS organisation running riot all over Iraq and all over the Middle East, is a direct result of the killing and maiming all these people who are mainly Muslims of various sects, and we are responsible also for recruiting all these young British Muslims to go over and fight for what they most sincerely believe is the freedom of the Muslim people to control their own future and to follow their own religion. That's what it's about.
From here, from Brecon, we'll walk to Abergavenny, and from Abergavenny down to Newport. And the march will arrive in Newport on Friday the 29th of August, because the summit will be coming. There'll be a whole week of action leading up to that.
You're expecting a lot of protesters at the NATO Celtic Manor?
We're just going by what's happened in other countries whenever there have been G8 summits or NATO summits. There has been a lot of protests from across Europe. I think people are starting to see what NATO is all about.
Matthew Dorrance, your views on the NATO summit?
I'm opposed to the NATO summit on the grounds that it's an armed organisation with nuclear weapons. I think that money should be diverted into the public sector and fund public services, which, let's face it, have been cut so drastically by this UK government.
Get rid of NATO, invest in people. Get rid of NATO and invest in people. Get rid of NATO and invest in people. Rely in the morning.
Is NATO's agenda about war, or is it about oil?
It's basically an arm of the arms trade. It's a facility for the arms trade, because the arms trade can only make profit if there's wars. They can't make profit out of peace, and they are a big influence on NATO. And at the present moment, they're arguing and doing their very, very best for another war in the Middle East against ISIS, against the Muslims. And they're recruiting all the generals that come on the television, the past generals, the past militarists, everybody who supports wars will be coming on, trying to persuade and trying to ignite a great feeling amongst the British people, the American people, to go on yet another disastrous war. So the arms trade have got a very, very big input into NATO.
I haven't seen a lot about this on TV.
No, well, this is the reason that we decided to do the long march, really. We know that when the summit comes to Newport, the press, the media, the television will focus on what the top leaders are saying, the world leaders are saying, and they'll focus on any any trouble they can find that protesters, might be deemed to be involved with, a lot of which is caused by the police, but they won't get our message across to people. They don't put our message, on camera. So we've designed the march to go out and talk to people and also find out what people think. Nobody's asking ordinary people what they think about NATO.
Lay down your guns, lay down your guns by the riverside. War, war no more.
John Minion, C&D Newport. What is the NATO event done for C&D?
Well, I think it's reminded people the fact that NATO has been gambling on the nuclear balance since the late 40s, and C&D was started in the late 50s, and has always been opposed to NATO, basically because NATO has always reserved the right to take first use of nuclear weapons. They've always said our nuclear weapons are our last resort, so if necessary. I mean, there's a famous quote by, remember Alec Douglas Humor, you probably heard of him, who, when questioned about Britain's role in the nuclear arms business, said, well, the British people are prepared to be blown to atomic dust if necessary, which is, I mean, most politicians aren't quite as unguarded as that, but I mean that is the way that the nuclear strategy works. So it's the theory of the unbreakable leg, really. We haven't broken our leg yet, so it's never going to happen. But underneath the kind of obviously rational powers like sort of America, Britain, Russia aren't likely to use nuclear weapons deliberately. But there are two snakes. One is there's a lot of ambiguity and space for misunderstanding. Cuba in the early 60s was a classic example of that. But under that kind of roof of the nuclear kind of protection, NATO totally fails to prevent other wars. I mean, I'd be in favour of a defence alliance that could actually prevent wars, but NATO doesn't work like that.